Okay, what you were just watching is some unaltered video footage shot with this drone right here. This is the Veenix V11PRO Drone. And so everything you just saw in that video there in that opening shot is straight from the camera. I didn't alter that in any way. For a long time, I've wanted to incorporate a drone into my footage, but quite honestly, drones are relatively expensive. And I have flown a drone before, and I was not very good at it. So when the company Veenix reached out to me and asked if they wanted to do a review for them with this particular product right here, I initially said no. A few years ago, a friend of mine let me borrow his DJI, I think it was a Mavic Pro model, Mavic Air, something like that. And while I thought I would be able to get some really great cinematic shots out of it, honestly, I found out that drones are a little harder than I thought to control and get some good things out of it. So one of the reasons I decided to try to use his drone is because I wanted to have it follow my car at times when I'm driving in remote places. I've seen people do that a lot in YouTube videos, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous when people do it right. And so I thought I could incorporate something like that into my footage. But honestly, I just couldn't get that particular drone, the DJI model that I was borrowing from my friends. I couldn't get that tracking feature to work properly for me. And I'm sure that has nothing to do with the drone itself. I'm sure that has everything to do with me, the user. You know, I didn't know how to work it correctly, and every time I tried to do it, since I couldn't get it to work, I just got frustrated and would give up, and therefore never really felt inclined to keep trying because I was not very good at it. So I really was hesitant on doing a review for this product at all. But as I mentioned before, I've seen some video before of people using drones, and it looks absolutely stunning when it's done correctly. A good establishing shot or just some beautiful cinematic photography can look really amazing. When Veenix reached out to me, I talked to them a little bit about their product and asked them a couple questions about it. Like, does it have GPS tracking or object tracking? Because that's something I really did want to try, and they said it did. So I decided I would give this product a closer look. Now, here's the real kicker when you do a product review for any kind of company. This makes me almost like a spokesman for this company, right? I have been given this drone. This is mine. I was given this drone in exchange for a video. So just so you know that this is my drone, but it was given to me. I did not pay any of my money to own this. And so it does put me in a weird position. Does that make me now an ambassador of this company? Do I talk nothing but good things about it? Do I share some of the bad things that I experienced with it? Am I there for tech questions and other things about it? And first, right off the bat, I want to lay down some ground rules. Some of those ground rules being that I absolutely will share the good things I experienced with this drone, and I will absolutely share the bad things that I experienced with this drone. Also, I am not a technical person when it comes to drones in general. When it comes to like cameras and things like that, I know basic knowledge, but I haven't really gone down a deep rabbit hole with knowing that stuff. And I have done absolutely no research at all about drones. I just know what they are capable of, but I certainly don't know the names of certain models. I didn't even know what model I was borrowing from my friend a couple years ago. I don't know what some models offer against other models. I don't know what makes some models more expensive than other models. I've just never gone down that rabbit hole, and quite honestly, I don't really care to be really honest with you. I think drones are very, very neat products, and when used effectively in a video can really be jaw-dropping in some instances. But the one thing I definitely don't want to do is be a reviewer for this product. I want to just kind of share my experience with this drone. I want to share again some of the things I really did like about it, and I do want to share again some of the things that I disliked about it. And this will really be coming from a point of view of someone who, again, is really not that tech savvy when it comes to drones in general, or really just cameras in general. And I really just want to reiterate that I have just not done a lot of reading about drones in general. So again, I just don't know how this is going to compare, honestly, to some of the bigger names out there and some of the bigger price tags, but also some of the smaller price tags, right? What really benefits a $600 drone compared to a $100 drone? I can't give you all those answers, but I will absolutely share with you my experience with this drone, how I got it to work, what I will be using it for, and how I'll be using it in future content. So first off, this is the drone right here in the palm of my hand when it's all folded down. I think it's pretty much the same size of some of the other brands that you've heard of out there. It certainly looks a lot like the DJI one that I borrowed from my friend a few years ago. It works very similar. The legs just kind of fold out, and there is your drone, the battery, is on top. I think the drone that I borrowed from my friend was a little bit more complicated to get the battery out, like there was a different mechanism for it. It does have a USB-C charging port, and it comes with 2 batteries in the box, so it gives you something like a total of like 70 minutes fly time. And for me, that's been pretty accurate. So what I'm gonna do is now switch over to some footage I've gotten straight out of this camera. Again, this is completely unaltered, not doctored in any way. This is straight out of the camera. And I'm also gonna share with you some screen records that I did while I was using the app, so you can get a better understanding of how the app works. Like anything, when you first open it up and start playing with it, there are things I missed the first time. So I just wanna share those things so that if you get this product, that you won't overlook the things like I did, and you'll have a much better experience when flying this. Okay, so this is the screen when you first open up the app, and the main important thing that was so crucial that I missed over the first time I saw it was right up here in the top right hand corner. What you're looking at is an area to select which drone you are using, and I did not see that at first. So I was flying it in the V11 mode, which didn't seem to give me controls of the camera. So after tapping on this, I was able to get to the camera controls so that you can adjust the camera while you're flying the drone. All right, once you're flying, this icon right here will switch between just a still camera mode and a video camera mode. And then this button right here will get you to all your manual camera controls. This is where you can control the white balance and the saturation and the exposure. So this is the button that I was missing somehow when I was just in the V11 mode. But once I got to the V11 Pro mode, then I was able to get to this function, and you can play with these settings and get whatever kind of look you're looking for out of the camera itself. Now, as I played with the settings, it really seemed to me that leaving these settings at 50 or 60, which is kind of like the baseline, the default settings, that for me gave me the most accurate colors and then kind of the best look. The saturation one at the very bottom, though, that one really seemed to get oversaturated very, very quickly. That was the one setting that I would leave really at its bottom. If you go to 0, it just goes to black and white. So you really want to go to 50, because anything after that, it just seemed like it was really blown out to me. So I would just leave that at 50 and then just do a little bit of post color correction in my final videos. So I was mentioning it earlier, but if you tap on this little icon here, that'll switch between video camera mode and still camera mode, and you can take still pictures. So tap the icon to take the picture. It'll take just a few seconds to receive the picture back down to your phone, and it does load it directly into your camera roll on your phone, like your photo library. So that was kind of nice. It does store it on an SD card, which is stored in the drone. The drone will take a 128 gigabyte SD card, but then it sent it right to your phone. So you don't have to like take that SD card and then plug it into your computer and then download that into your phone. It's nice that it sends it right to your photo library on your phone. Now, here's the only problem I ever had with this drone, and it only happened a few times. It didn't happen every time, but it was enough that I had to reach out to the company about it. Occasionally, I would be flying, and all of a sudden, the screen would just seem to freeze. I could get no movement anymore on the screen, and then I would get this pop-up, and this pop-up would tell me, please point the remote control towards the aircraft or increase the aircraft altitude to obtain the best signal. Now, if you go down here in the bottom left, you see this little icon that shows you the direction of the drone towards where you are. Now, in my experience, when I kept that red arrow, which indicates the drone, on that north line, it seemed to have the best reception from the controller to the drone. But occasionally I would still get this error message, and I just couldn't get off of the screen at all. I would have to tell the drone to come back home, and then once it landed, I would have to shut everything off. I'd have to power down the controller, I'd have to power down the drone, and then turn it all back on, and it seemed to work again. I reached out to the company, and they did ask me a couple questions, like where I was flying it and if I was flying it near some tall trees and things like that, and some ways to get around it. And they did ask for the flight log so they can look into it a little bit further. So again, not something that happened every single time to me, but it was enough that I had to reach out to them. Now, some of the reasons that I think I had a little bit of bad experience in the very first time I flew this thing was because they do tell you, but I just seem to overmiss it, is that when you fold out the arms on the front end, the legs here on the front end for the propellers, there is a little antenna thing that they say is a landing gear, but I think this also might act as an antenna to help a little bit with the reception from this to the receiver. So I missed that somehow in the initial setup when I first got this out of the box. So just know that when you take this out of the box and unfold the arms, that you're going to want to fold down a little piece right here, and there is 2 of them on each side, and it acts as not just a landing gear, but also I think there might be an antenna in there to help with the reception to the controller. I was also really impressed with the low light camera that's on this drone. Again, this is not altered in any way. I didn't enhance this. I didn't touch this in any kind of way. This is just simply a still image that I took with the drone, flying it just after dusk over Phoenix, and I thought it was pretty impressive. The Veenix does take 8K photos and records in 4K 30 frames a second. It has a 3-axis gimbal with EIS stability, and it has 6 kilometers transmission range. I was flying this drone over a neighborhood, and as I told it to return to home, which it does a really good job of coming right back to where you took off, it really thought it captured the sunset really well here. You can see a couple palm trees there. And then the street lights and the front porches and all these houses, you know, again, just that warmth that was coming from that light. All right, so testing the camera a little bit further in the dark here, I really wanted to see how it would work with a little bit more light around me in the dark. So you're going to see it come to me here and just in the neighborhood. And again, captures the warmth, I thought, really well. So I started walking around this way here so that the street light would capture my face and that the camera would pick it up a little bit better. And I think it really did a phenomenal job, honestly. Now, obviously, having the light behind me doesn't capture my face as well. I'm also wearing a hat, so it is hiding my face a little bit more. But when I'm walking back into the light where the street lights capture my face, I thought it really did well. When you look at drones and certain cameras on the market, a lot of them will boast a 3-axis gimbal, and you may be wondering, okay, what does that really mean? And honestly, it does really help with giving you no movement in the camera when the camera is moving around a lot. So I'm about to put this gimbal to a little bit of a test. I'm about to move the camera back and forth on the drone, and what I'm doing is I'm telling the drone to go back and forth. And you're going to see that this gimbal is really making it look like it's on a dolly, like in a movie, or just a tripod, someone holding it on a tripod and moving it back and forth kind of quickly. And that's one of the things that these more expensive drones do have going for them on top of other drones possibly on the market, is a 3-axis gimbal will give you these nice buttery smooth shots when you're flying 1,000 feet up in the air and you know the wind is picking up at 10-12 miles per hour, and it might be moving the drone around a little bit, but the camera is staying very still. So if you really want that cinematic kind of footage, you do really want a 3-axis gimbal on your drone. Okay, so one of the main reasons I thought this would be neat to have a drone is because I do a lot of camping and I'm out on some pretty remote areas at times, and I wanted to be able to fly this thing and have it follow my car. So I tested out the GPS signal in this thing, and basically what the drone does is it just locks onto your phone's GPS signal, and wherever the phone goes, it seems to follow. And I gotta say, it worked really well. It was one button on the screen, you tap it, it's this GPS follow button you see here, and you can control the camera and you can have it go high, low, whatever you need it to do. But wherever the phone goes, wherever the controller goes, and you can see I'm pointing the controller towards the drone to get the most accuracy out of it. But you're going to see me run to the right here in a minute, and then it's just going to follow me. I don't have to do anything. I'm not looking at the screen, and that would be really handy, I think, for me when I'm driving. I could be on kind of a curvy, winding road going to a really great camp spot, and it would follow me. All right, once again, just tracking the car. Now I'm pointing the camera away from the car at times, but again, it doesn't matter. The drone flies wherever the camera is. You can point the camera at whatever you want, but the drone itself is going to just follow the car. So you can get some really nice smooth shots. This is just it flying over the neighborhood here. I think you can get some really beautiful, maybe river shots, lake shots, maybe something like that. You know, maybe you're driving next to some beautiful mountains or something like that. You could have it, you know, pointing down, looking at the mountains while you're driving. That might be kind of cool. Maybe get the car off to the side or something. That look really cool. And as I turned the corner there, it followed. All right, so how will I be using the Veenix V11 Pro going forward? Absolutely, probably the same way that you've seen in a lot of other videos. I'm going to get it to follow my car. I thought the tracking on this thing actually was pretty good. Telling it to lock onto the GPS on my phone, getting that function to work actually worked pretty flawlessly in my experience. And I will definitely use it for that when I'm on probably a lot more BLM roads, public lands, dispersed camping sites, things like that. When I'm not in a big city like I am now, where I'm not having to concentrate on traffic and things, I can be on a pretty desolate road and be able to look down at my phone screen and see if it's tracking me okay and everything, but also just be able to show you some really beautiful places in the world. I think another great way that I'm going to probably be using this is that I don't think I'm going to always be flying at 1,000 feet in the air and just show you aerial shots. I saw a YouTuber one time who flew it only maybe 4 or 5 feet above the ground, and then he drove by it with his car, and I thought that was a really great use of a secondary camera. I only have one camera, and if you really just wanted a ground shot, but you don't have a secondary camera, maybe you're filming in your car at the same time that you're filming something outside, I could set this up outside maybe and just drive by it while I'm filming something in the car at the same time. I think that would be a great way to use it. I think it would be a great way to show you some trails or things like that. So I definitely will be using it in the future. I just don't think I'm going to use it in every single video that I have. I also think that just learning to play with the camera settings a little bit will definitely enhance your experience with this. And you know, if you have the luxury of using video editing software that does any color grading, maybe tweaking that a little bit in post might give you just an even better picture when the final product is done. I probably will end up doing that, but I do that with my iPhone footage, and that's the main camera I use all the time anyways. Okay, well that is my experience with the Veenix V11PRO Drone. I do like this, and I will definitely be using it again in the future. Until next time, thank you for escaping normal life with me.